Please don't bother me, I'm on my lunch break. Pizza, burger, sandwich, lunch break, tofu, salad, hot dog, lunch break.
Welcome back to another episode of Lunch Break. I'm AJ.
I'm Kathleen.
And on this week's episode, we interviewed Brian Olson with Café Intermezzo.
There are 4 locations, or 5? Multiple. There are multiple locations.
We found out that there are 4 in the metro Atlanta area.
Including the airport. And the one that we know of pretty well is the one at Avalon, right down the road from us.
We just wanted to kind of figure out how we got into the business. We enjoy visiting Café Intermezzo, so...
Yeah, it's a fun place to get drinks or to get coffee or desserts. And Brian and my dad know each other from way back, I guess. They helped when the city of Dunwoody was forming. They worked together to create a few different things, so...
We really enjoyed recording the episode. We recorded on location at Avalon. I enjoyed some coffee. Kathleen had some tea.
It was good tea.
We enjoyed recording. Hope you guys enjoy listening.
Today, we are on location at Café Intermezzo at Avalon, and we are with the founder, owner, president, CEO, all of the above.
No, the first 3. Founder, owner, and president. We have a CEO as well.
Oh, awesome. And Brian Olson, right?
That's correct.
I was like, let me get your name in here. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, AJ. I really appreciate your coming over.
We're excited. So I personally go to Avalon,
on the reg?
Maybe every weekend. All the time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's why we're still open.
Probably. And we love coming to Café Intermezzo. It's cool. It's definitely a different feel, different vibe to it. Is that what you were going for? Or how did you start all of this? Where did the idea come from?
Well, it originated really out of a desire to visit Europe, and especially Germany and Austria. My mom's family is German heritage, and so when I was 23, I went for the first time alone and visited Germany, and really, in touring Berlin, really fell in love with the European Coffeehouse. In Germany, they have a concept called the Konditorei, Konditorei, which is basically what Café Intermezzo is in the German language. It's fine pastries, and I wasn't an avid coffee fan at that age for some reason. My parents both were. But I came into the Konditorei and really, really was impassioned by the setting, and really, most importantly, what the setting caused to take place, which was real relaxation, interaction by guests or people being in by themselves and planning their life, reading the newspaper. There was no internet. This was 1971, so it was newspapers, or writing in a journal and really enjoying the experience, the moment of being in this cafe or European coffee house. And it's touched my heartstrings at that point and just planted a seed. Came back home to America. I was running a record store that my family owned at that time. And I decided to kind of pursue this sort of subconsciously, this idea. And then as time passed, a couple years passed, I moved back to my original home of Minneapolis and got to work I went to work for a friend who owned restaurants and started learning restaurant management at that point. And in the process of doing that, we had cappuccino machines, espresso machines at these restaurants. So I began learning about those and got into that passion, and then became a marketer and seller of those part-time while I worked in the restaurants. And I worked a lot. But then I decided to go into the marketing of espresso cappuccino machines and sold those in the upper Midwest, big brass and copper ones, fancy ones like you see, like we have here, and decided I wanted a better territory. So I studied the U.S. map and picked the Southeast and moved to Atlanta in end of 1977, and marketed the machines in the Southeast, keeping the seed for the European Coffeehouse planted in my brain. Along the way, I found in early 1979 Park Place Shopping Center in Dunwoody under construction, and talked with them and signed a lease, and then we began building. I scraped together some capital and borrowed funds, and at the end of the year, December 3rd, we opened. December 3rd of 79, we opened in Dunwoody.
That was your first location?
Yes, that's correct.
And you now have 4 locations?
Correct, yes. Dunwoody in 79. Then in 1987, I wanted to expand, found a location on Peachtree in the Brookwood area of South Buckhead. Opened that in 87. And then in 2009, I worked with some people who became licensees for a location in the Atlanta airport in Concourse B. And we opened that in December of 09. And that's still operated by our licensees there.
I was surprised to learn that you were at the airport.
Yeah.
I think I always fly out of Concourse C. I always fly Southwest, so I don't think I'm generally at Concourse B.
I see. Well,
So-
AJ, get off the train next time.
Stop at Café Intermezzo at the
Café
airport.
Intermezzo, it's right in the center spine of Concourse B. And I always thought for years that a European coffee house would be really wonderful in Atlanta Airport. I traveled quite a bit in my espresso machine years. And along the way, in early 2009, a gentleman called me who represented a company in Barcelona, called Areas. And he said, "Have you ever thought of franchising?" I said, "Yes, I have." He said, "Have you ever thought of the Atlanta Airport?" I said, "Yeah, I really have." So he flew up from Miami, and we talked, and then months later created an agreement and got that place open. Then in 2013, we moved the Brookwood location because it was 25 years old at that point, and that's not the reason. But after 25 years on Peachtree, across from Piedmont Hospital virtually, the building was very old, and the building had issues, and parking was an issue there. And an opportunity came up at 11th and Peachtree in Midtown with the Seelig organization for a building they had built the year before, and it was just a beautiful opportunity. So we moved and closed the old location on Sunday night after 25 years and 4 months. And it was sweet. I had my family there, and my wife came, and we sat at the very table where I had met her in 1988.
That's sweet.
That was wonderful. And then we opened the next day, Monday, on March 25th.
Wow.
It's a quick turnaround.
2013, it was a quick turnaround. Yeah.
No break there.
About 12 hours.
Yeah.
And it did so much better. And we surmised that the foot traffic, the pedestrian traffic, the youthfulness of that part of town, Midtown, as you know, is just burgeoning. Mm-hmm. And there's a wonderful hotel next door, the Lowe's Hotel, which we I think served quite well symbiotically. So that turned out to be a really beneficial experience. And then we come to Avalon. We were looking up in this area and saw Avalon as it was being built, and were obviously, like many people, most people, probably everyone, impressed by it. And so we worked on finding a location, and we're looking at different spots, and then all of a sudden this particular location popped up, which was a piece of green grass.
Yeah.
And so Avalon built the building for us, and we built the cafe and outfitted it, and opened here a year and a half ago in November of 16.
Do you have a favorite location? Or are they all your favorites?
They're kind of all favorites for different reasons. I love Dunwoody because it's the original one. Mm-hmm. Midtown because it's such a wonderfully burgeoning area, and then we opened our first out-of-state location in Plano, Texas.
Oh, wow.
2 months, a month and a half ago.
So how did you end up there?
It's an interesting question. I went over with someone who was developing there, and he showed us some property over there that they were developing with the idea, this was a few years ago, of developing it, building a cafe on their property. And then we looked around and ended up choosing a project called Legacy, which is a lot like Avalon, except it's 12 years old. It's more mature than Avalon and bigger than Avalon, and found a location that was coming available, and and opened there on April 2nd, just passed. So,
Congrats.
and then we're under construction in Nashville, Tennessee.
Wow. You're just going all over the place.
Yeah, kind of burgeoning. And we're going to get Nashville open about the end of August is the prediction. And then we're going to focus on these for a little while and get everything tightly in order before we progress beyond that.
So how do you replicate the calm and serene, relaxing feel of the restaurant, say, in the airport?
It's challenging. And it was a challenge in the process of designing it, especially with licensees who are the ones that own the business. So, one is convincing these people of what the European Coffeehouse is. And not everyone really gets what the European Coffeehouse is. And that's fundamental, obviously, to what we are and what we do and why we're here. It is a place, as you say, Kathleen, where people come and relax, and it has a quiet serenity to it. And that is challenging at the airport, but it worked. I mean, we worked with the lighting and the design, of course, and worked with it. It's in a wonderful location, as I mentioned, the center spine of Concourse B. There is a bookstore attached to it with books and various miscellaneous items as well that our licensees own and operate. But we really were convinced, and it proved to be correct, that people in an airport setting, traveling, many are harried and in a hurry and challenged. People really could appreciate and enjoy an environment where they come and it is just serene. It is just different from the rest of the airport.
Yeah, nice break.
Different from other restaurants. That's right. There are many wonderful restaurants at the Atlanta airport. We're gratified to be to our telling, the fourth busiest of, I think, about 134 restaurants in the airport. So we and our licensees have been successful in that regard. And but it's turned out to be, and many people, of course, have commented over the 9 years we've been open, it's turned out to be an environment that people do appreciate and come back to.
Do you have the same menu at all of the locations? Because your drink menu is a book.
Like 40 pages.
It's 40 pages
It's
of
intense.
Coffee and...
The beverage book.
The beverage book.
As we call it, yes.
So is it the same?
It is the same, yes. A few minor changes now going to Plano because different wines are available and some different beers, and we put some local beers on the list.
Is that how most cafes are in Europe? They have a large book of drinks that you can order from?
Not really. That evolved with Café Intermezzo over many years of activity, because since we've been open 38 years, we've had a lot of years to evolve. That evolution is a product of, as really is the existence of the cafe here, of a personal desire to partake in something like this that has, as I say, freedom of choice, a lot of choices. I really always kind of relished that thought and idea, and a konditorei in Germany, a Coffeehouse in Vienna, and of course the Coffeehouse was born essentially in Vienna during the time of the Habsburgs, and the Turks. Before that, the Turks marched through Austria, and they brought coffee to Vienna, and they set up a guy to, as the story goes, to make coffee for the soldiers. And they roasted the coffee, they brought the beans, and then he operated this coffee house. The Turks left, he created the coffee house. That's about a 250-year tradition.
Before we sat down and began recording, we ordered drinks, and you got a cup of coffee, just black. He took a sip, and he goes, "Man, that's a good cup of coffee."
Well,
so
good, AJ, thank you.
whatever
Yeah,
you're
I'm glad
doing
to hear
is
that.
working. Yeah. Is that what people normally come in here for? Like, do you see them coming in for the beverages? Or I know the dessert case is obviously very enticing, and that's a whole experience in itself. Like, is that what people normally come for, the drinks and the desserts? Or
That's a great question, Kathleen, and it's interesting because it's so varietal why people come in. And that's one of the beauties of this concept that we are so impassioned by. And that is the freedom of choice to make it whatever you want to make it. It's part of the challenge in the training of staff who come from other restaurants in most cases. And you're used to serving, as a server, you're used to flipping tables as much as possible, as much as you can. In the European Coffeehouse, and specifically Café Intermezzo, your opportunity is to come in, and you may know this or be aware of it, come in and sit down and have a cup of coffee and take off. Or to sit down and open your your journal or now your laptop and have a cup of coffee and get to work and maybe have lunch and then maybe have a pastry later. You can sit here for 4 hours if you want to.
And you encourage people to do that?
We do. We encourage that opportunity. Most people in reality don't do that.
It's a little bit different than Chili's or TGI Fridays.
Very much so, very much so. And you don't have, in our experience of the Café Intermezzo environment, you don't have a server coming, tapping their foot, wanting you to, it's been an hour and 30 minutes, it's time for you to go. They won't do that here. And it's interesting, some guests will perceive that in some cases as poor service. People who are used to a typical restaurant environment. But what it is the server being sensitive to the wants, needs, and desires of the guest. And if someone comes in, and that's part of the reason, too, that we are such a great environment for romance. Romance is a big deal here.
I've been married for over a year now, so I got married in November 2016. And for our 1-year anniversary, my wife and I, Kimber, we went to Café Intermezzo in Dunwoody. And it was just this very romantic experience. You have a little patio.
Yes.
And so we were sitting out there, and we spent probably a couple hours, whereas we usually spend maybe 45 minutes at a restaurant. So it was like this very...
You can just sit there and talk and
and,
enjoy your experience.
And, we had an appetizer, and then we ordered drinks, and then we ordered dinner, and then we have dessert, and then we have coffee afterwards. So it was a unique experience that we hadn't really done anywhere else.
Well, AJ, thank you for having done that. Congratulations on your anniversary.
Thank you.
By the way, what date in November?
November 6th.
We opened here November 3rd.
Okay.
It was the tree lighting day, so it was later in November, right? It was closer to the 18th. Tree lighting day in Avalon. And now that I think about it, I think it was the 21st. But anyway, that is what is very significant to our environment, which is one of the reasons Valentine's Day is so huge, because of the romance factor. And what you and your wife did, by the way, we celebrated, we had a function in Plano, Texas, and during that event, we had found a couple who had gotten engaged the week before. So they redid their engagement to demonstrate to it was an influencers night at the cafe. And these people restaged their engagement, and they ended up really impressing the audience, because that was the plan, obviously, was to make the audience aware of what a big factor that is for us. I mean, at Café Intermezzo's, there have been, over the 38 years, probably many, many, into the tens of thousands of engagements, first dates. It's a great place for first dates. And that gets to the point that I find very valuable to this concept, and that is that women, females, ladies of any age, really like the Café Intermezzo, if I may be so bold as to state.
I can second that, yes. Me and all my friends love it. We come in and we're like, ooh, looking around.
Well,
so yeah, it's accurate with my group.
It's again, that freedom of choice is a wonderful thing. We have alcohol, obviously. We have bars, but we are not a bar. We're not, we like to a certain degree, what we are is kind of based upon what we are not. We are not a bar. We are not really a restaurant, even though technically we certainly are. But we are, again, as a cafe, as a European coffee house, a place to come and settle in and do what you want to do and have what you want to have and spend as little or as much as you want to in the money terms and in time terms.
So back to the desserts.
That's right.
We were talking about it earlier, are they changed out every day, so to give you a different experience?
They're changed with the passage of time during the day, yes. Mm-hmm. We have about 44 on our list. Our pastry display here at Avalon holds 20. Mm-hmm. At Dunwoody and Midtown, we actually have 40 on display. It is, and many of them are most are made baked in our bakery in Norcross. And Epic Baking, we call it. And it is, our cheesecakes are very popular and very well accepted over these many years. Mm-hmm. And we also bring cakes. We bake some torts as well, and we have cakes and torts from a couple of bakers in New York and one in North Carolina.
Well, they're delicious.
They are. And I know that when Kimber and I were at the Dunwoody location, you have like a personal guide.
Yes.
Talking to you about each of the different cakes and desserts in the case.
That's another nuance to Café Intermezzo is we have what we call the tour guide, and she or he will lead you or a group through the pastries that are on display. And in European fashion, we don't have little cards in there to make it look like a typical bakery. Identifying the cakes, we identify them by the tour guide, and then the tour guide writes down what the pastry name is, and then you go to your table and give that to your server and order.
I don't know. Every time I come, it is kind of just, I guess, inherently relaxing because you aren't rushed through it all. So if you sit there and decide, oh, we're just going to come for a drink or two, but then you see everybody else line up for the cakes, then you get some, and then you just sit there. So I don't know. It's cool. It's very unique. I don't know that I could name another restaurant like it around here, you know, because most of the time you are just kind of like, if you're going out to eat or going out for drinks, then you usually have like a purpose and you're just trying to get through it, you know, even if you enjoy the food. But here you are kind of just, you can sit and talk and
Relax.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very nice. You do a good job with that. It
Well,
comes through very well.
Thank you very much. That's another element to that freedom of choice is this expansiveness of our hours. We're open from fairly early morning until very late night, and in many of our locations where the late night is especially Dunwoody, having evolved over all these years, and Midtown, the late night is a big part of the day part. And here at Avalon to a certain degree as well, although here we have more all day long flow. And it is a situation where you can come in at 10 or 10:30 at night and just have a pastry and a cup of coffee if you want to, or have dinner. You can come in at midnight and have dinner. And depending on the night of the week, we're open until we either seat guests till midnight or 1 a.m. So, you know, there's a lot of opportunity. And if we seat you at 1 a.m. on Friday or Saturday, then you can enjoy yourself until your time is up for yourself, your choice. And so it could be 2:30 in the morning. But it tends to be a very active time. And again, there are not a lot of places open late at night, especially with our full menu being served. And breakfast is popular at 10 or 11 or 12 at night.
I didn't realize that you serve breakfast.
Yes.
So is it a full breakfast menu?
Yes, it is. It is. It's you know, it's not like you'd find at a pancake house, but it's or
So you don't
Waffle House.
have chocolate chip pancakes here?
We don't. Though that we don't. Although we could do that.
If you ask nicely enough.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But we have wonderful French toast. We have eggs Benedict, eggs on croissant, a whole variety of items like that. And breakfast is a popular nighttime item for a lot of people.
And do you have a lunch and dinner menu too?
Yes, it's the same menu all through the day. So you can order anything. It doesn't change at 5 o'clock in the afternoon or anything like that.
That's
You can order
good.
anything off of the menu all through the day and into the night. So it makes it very simple.
I think I remember having scallops. Is that on the menu?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You could have a breakfast salad if you really wanted.
Yeah?
Not
With
that
scallops?
anyone. No.
Oh,
Just because
for
the menu's
dinner.
the whole day. So you could just do it in the morning. Why not?
Probably not with scallops.
Yeah.
But
Probably not a salad either.
one of the things, of course, people enjoy are the outdoors, and terraces in Europe are very popular. So we have the terrace patio, if you will, and Dunwoody's, and here at Avalon, and in Midtown we have doors that open and close, so they're usable all through the year, and the weather doesn't impede the use of them. But it's an opportunity to sit like Midtown, the doors open vertically, and you're on Peachtree Street looking out across at the Federal Reserve. And so it's
Cool.
it's an
Indoor, outdoor space.
Yes, exactly. Heaters, fans. So it's not air conditioned, so it can be a little toasty in the summertime, but it's very well used.
Well, I remember in the Dunwoody location, we sat outside, and that almost seemed like it was bigger than the inside portion.
It's pretty large. There are a lot of seats on the terrace. Yeah, there are. And we have doors there that were built in Germany called nanowall doors, and the whole thing opens up sideways in about 3 minutes. So it's
So, and this is kind of a tangent, going back to something you touched on earlier. When you first visited Europe, you weren't a coffee drinker, but now you've become a coffee drinker.
oh yes,
Have you gone through the entire menu of coffee drinks?
I have.
Have you?
Absolutely.
Do you
yeah.
have a favorite on the list?
Many times over the years. It's a very simple favorite, espresso. I love espresso.
Is that what you were drinking when you came up here?
Yes, that's correct. And having marketed espresso machines for many years, I became a devotee. I started with cappuccino, really enjoyed the cappuccino, and then eventually evolved into espresso to get the full, rich flavor of the espresso coffee.
I'm mostly just a drip coffee.
I see.
Yeah. But
As you had today.
exactly. But maybe I'll start venturing into the... Do you have any recommendations?
Very, very popular is the Café Intermezzo, which basically is a cappuccino, and it has almond in it, the flavor of almond, which is really delicious.
That sounds good. I'll have to
That
try
sounds
that.
good.
Yes, please do. It's really good.
I don't drink coffee, but your tea is very good.
Oh, well, thank you. We do have a plethora of teas for many years, too, Kathleen, as you know. And the teas are so widely popular, of course, throughout the world. So a lot of people enjoy them, especially non-coffee drinkers.
Food fight.
Our next segment today is Food Fight, where Kathleen competes against our special guest to see who knows more food trivia. We'll play 3 rounds. The first 2 rounds will consist of 4 questions. You will wager 1, 3, 5, or 7 points per round, and each point value can only be wagered once per round. So, in other words, you can't wager 7 points for every question. Each point value must be used in each round once.
Okay.
Okay. You don't lose points for an incorrect guess. After the first 2 rounds, we will have a final question, and we'll get into the details of that round later. So for round number 1, the topic is cakes and pastries. Question 1. This cake is associated with the Christmas season in many regions of the world and associated with the season of Lent in other regions. In North America, it is most recognized as a Mardi Gras cake. What is the name?
I'm trying to figure out if this is the official name of it or if there's a better name.
Well.
I don't know if this is just like the slang or if it is the actual name, you know?
Brian?
You want me to name it?
Yeah.
Hummingbird.
How many points did you wager?
Oh, 1.
1 point. Kathleen?
I did king cake.
4.
7.
It is king cake.
Yay.
Uh-oh. Kathleen, you're showing me up.
I couldn't tell if that was just what everybody calls it or if it had an actual name. So I'm glad that's the actual name.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yes.
Okay, question number 2. What dessert that consists of sponge cake and berries shares its name with a popular 1980s cartoon character which spawned a line of scented toys?
Scented toys.
Still thinking?
I have no idea.
No.
I have to defer.
Kathleen
Strawberry shortcake.
and Brian, you're passing.
Strawberry shortcake.
Is that what you're going to go with too?
I'll go with that.
Okay.
I'll go strawberry shortcake.
It is strawberry shortcake. Kathleen
I did
one.
5.
5 points.
Thank you.
and Brian, how many points did you put down on that one?
I didn't. I guess so. To be fair, I should just say 1.
Well, we'll put 3 for that one since you
Okay.
did 1 for the
Okay,
first question.
Thank you. You're being kind.
Question number 3. What type of cheese is usually used in cheesecake?
Okay, this is where you're going to shine. Okay. Do you want to go first?
Brian,
Cream cheese.
how many points?
7.
I
Kathleen?
did cream cheese for 3.
It is cream cheese.
Whoa. I made a slight catch-up.
Okay, the last question for round number 1. What is another term for a Charlotte cake? Is it A, refrigerator cake, B, freezer cake, C, ice cream cake, or D, icebox cake? Kathleen?
I did D for 1 point.
Brian?
D for 5 points.
D is correct. So at the end of round 1, Brian, you have 15 points, Kathleen 16 points. So it's still anybody's game.
Whoa.
It's close.
The last time we recorded round 2 is where I just took a nosedive. It got a little harder.
Okay, and so for round 2, the points reset so you can wager 7, 5, 3, and 1 again.
All right.
Okay, and this round is about coffee.
Ooh,
So-
my specialty.
Question number 1. Coffee is a hot commodity. Compared against oil and natural gas, is coffee the first, second, or third most traded commodity in the world?
With coffee, oil, or gas are the top 3.
So coffee, oil, and natural gas are the 3 most traded commodities.
And which one is coffee?
Is
Where does
coffee,
it rank?
yeah, first, second, or third most traded? Brian, we'll have you go first.
First for 3.
Kathleen?
Second for 3.
It is the second most traded commodity
Seriously?
next to oil.
Oil. I thought
Yeah.
oil was probably, since
It makes sense.
wars start over it.
Question number 2. What South American country, which hosted the 2016 Summer Olympics, is the top exporter of coffee?
You would think the Olympic comment would give it away, but
You don't remember?
drawing a blank, yeah. This will be a 1 point. Oh, okay. Wait, I remember. Okay.
So this is the country.
I had the city.
Brian?
Brazil for 7.
Kathleen?
Brazil for 5.
It is Brazil.
I think you specified country because I was going to put Rio, which is, yeah.
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 Okay.
Well done, AJ.
Thank you. Question number 3. The Italian word espresso literally means what? A, speed it up. B, to go. C, force out. Or D, black and intense. Kathleen?
B to go? Was that?
That was an answer.
I did 1 point.
Okay.
That one, I don't know.
Brian?
Well, to a certain degree, it's none of the above. This one I know clearly. I know a little bit of Italian.
Okay.
It means, literally, the word espresso means fast. So speed it up would be A.
Okay. That is correct.
How many points did you do?
7.
Nice. You were confident on that one.
I was confident, yeah. Unlike the cake from New Orleans.
Okay, last question for round number 2. Only 2 states in the U.S. are able to commercially grow coffee plants. One is California. What is the other state?
I keep thinking of places that, like, Seattle's known for it, but that's not. Let's do. I'm sorry, I can't even name a state. Texas.
Okay. Brian?
Florida.
The correct answer is Hawaii.
Oh.
Of course.
So at the end of round 2, Brian is now in the lead with 27 points. Kathleen has 24. But it's still anybody's game as we go into the last question. For round 3, there is only one question, but it has 10 possible answers. For each correct answer, you will be rewarded 3 points. If you guess incorrectly, you're not penalized. The question: even though Brazil has been the top exporter of coffee for more than 150 years, they only rank 15th in the world for consuming coffee. According to telegraph.co.uk, what are the top 10 countries that drink the most coffee per capita? As a hint, 9 out of the 10 countries are in Europe, and the 10th is from North America. Kathleen, do you want to go first?
Oh, I'm going to embarrass myself with this answer. I did the U.S.
They are not on the list.
Oh, it was Canada?
Yep, Canada.
Dang. Okay. Italy?
Italy is not on the list.
Germany.
Germany is not on the list either.
All right. The U.K.?
They are not on the list.
Switzerland.
Switzerland, yes, they
All right. China, but I don't think that
No.
was with the, yeah.
They are not on the list.
Sweden.
Sweden, yes.
Okay. Ireland?
Ireland, no, they did not make the list.
I don't even know if this one counts. Israel?
Nope, they're not on the list either.
And I don't think this is a country. Dutch. That's a language.
Well, the Dutch are
Holland.
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 So, no, they are not on the list.
All right, that's all I got. That was a rough one.
That's a rough one, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
I botched it already. Austria?
Austria is not on the list.
Whoa. Hungary?
Hungary is not on the list either.
Czech Republic?
Czech Republic is not on the list.
Sweden? I got.
Sweden is on the list, yes.
Spain?
Spain, no, they are not on the list.
France?
France, nope, they didn't make it either.
Wow.
Slovakia?
Slovakia didn't make the list. Wow.
Belgium?
Belgium, yes, they are on the list.
Now, just to ask, since I washed out of that one,
Sure.
Norway?
Norway, they are not on the list. Do you want me to go down
Please.
it? Okay. So the number 1 country is Finland. Number 2 is Norway. 3 is Iceland.
Oh, Norway. Norway was on it. Okay.
Did you have Norway?
No.
Okay. 3 is Iceland. 4 is Denmark. 5 is the Netherlands. 6 is Sweden. 7 is Switzerland. 8 is Belgium. 9 is Luxembourg. And number 10 is Canada.
Wow.
So
Got it. Wow.
So
that
it's
was a
not
tough one.
It was but I guess because it was per capita.
It's per capita.
And
Correct.
they're smaller, right? So if they drink,
Size doesn't matter.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. The big ones, but now that I realize per capita, I mean, not that I would have named those either. Let's be real.
Right.
But
But so at the end of the game, Brian is the big winner, 33 points to Kathleen's 30. So congratulations, Brian.
good job.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was
Coffee
that was
connoisseur.
tight.
Yeah,
Close.
that was.
I should have done a lot better.
That was difficult.
Yeah, when I was compiling the questions, I thought this one might be a little bit of a challenge, but
You did great, AJ.
oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I needed that boost.
Brian, thank you for joining us. We really enjoyed talking with you.
Kathleen, AJ, thank you both very much. You're a pleasure.
So be sure to check us out on Instagram, lunchbreak_podcast, and be sure to check out Café Intermezzo at Avalon in Dunwoody, at the airport, Concourse B, right in the middle, and in Midtown.
That episode was tasty.